All right, hey traders, TG Watkins here. It is February 9th, Thursday when I'm recording this, and I hope everybody stayed safe today in the market. Boy, but that was, talk about timing. If anybody saw my teaser that came out today, put out yesterday, you guys saw it today, everything's a day behind when I put this stuff out. I said, hey, the market is basically due for a rest, and right now we just need to wait. And as far as looking for long positions, and I said I was looking for a pullback to the 21 EMA. Now, we are not there yet, so I imagine that we probably have some more downside. One day doesn't fix this situation. So yeah, I think that there's going to be a little bit more downside to come. We'll see how that looks, and that's good. That's fine. That's everything we were wanting. I was noticing that breadth had been declining, participation had been declining. So yeah, this was pretty easy to see. Actually, we were seeing this. The Moxie group was talking about this, and yeah, I was on the mic a couple times this week in the Moxie room and in the options room over at Simpler Trading, and basically just saying, I gave all my thesis out there, saying, look, we had a really good January and we had a good February, and the icing on the cake was the FOMC right there. And I was like, you know what? That literally just rang the bell. Like Thursday was the ring the bell, and we're gonna take it all down after that. And you can see here we had negative. Let me draw that one better. There you go. Negative divergence on the hourly chart. Let me get over to the 15 because there were actually some things we could talk about there. Because over in the 15-minute time frame, there we go. And what you could see was that when Jerome Powell spoke this week, this was an inverse trampoline move. Notice that price was over the 15-minute 50, but notice that the Moxie indicator was still below zero. And even today, we opened up with a gap up, but where was the Moxie indicator? It just wasn't strong. It wasn't doing anything. So that was telling us not to really believe it. And even if you wanted to go from a price standpoint, what happened? Price opened up here. You could even say it opened up at that third ATR. Where was support? Support at least was the 15-minute 50. I like to use moving averages, and that's what I look for. And what happened? Well, initially, price opened here. Where is it likely to go? At least to the 15-minute 50. If it's going to hold, then it'll go up there. But you know what happened? Not only did it fail the 15-minute 50, it then bounced into the underside of the 15-minute 50. And you could see right at that same time, let me kind of really zoom in here, because I know we got some day traders out there too that like to look at this stuff. Like what happened? Price got rejected by the underside of the 15-minute 50, and then that's exactly where the 8 crossed below the 21. So, that all worked out pretty nicely, and then we just got a big downdraft all day after that. So, as I said, even in the teaser yesterday, I was saying, hey, we need to wait and watch, and, this is not a good environment to be initiating longs and all that kind of stuff. And then with the rest of us over in the Moxie group, we were taking a few shorts, and so that worked out nicely. Let me get back over here. Now, I haven't been talking about the UVXY for a while. And, I think for good reason. It hadn't really been doing much. But I was aware, and I've been talking to the Moxie group, Moxie trading group about this as well. And I was saying, hey, we are starting to see that this is starting to move up again. Okay, we're aware of this. We could also see that price was down here outside of the third ATR, just like it was down here. And I said, really, this is what we need to be looking for and saying, hey, is this going to be, is this a problem? And all I could say at the time was, it sure looks to me like the UVXY is at least going to start to go sideways, maybe up a little bit. And that is starting to line up with the timing of the market starting to roll over. And so now we need to figure out, is the UVXY going to actually start some sort of uptrend? Because if it is, that's going to be real bad for the market. If it is not, then that's going to be fine. Let me come over here to the hourly. Come on, let's do this again. UVXY. Come over here to the daily and hourly because this is really important. The UVXY actually told us back in December or January that the market was likely to go higher, even though the market went down. So the market's pullback was into strength. And the UVXY told us that because it could not engage, could not hold the hourly 50. Therefore, the UVXY kept going lower. However, now, kind of after today's action and whatnot, I am noticing that the UVXY is starting to hold the hourly 50. Now, it did that for just a little bit back here and then failed and failed and failed. So this is something we need to watch for. If the UVXY is going to start to hold the hourly 50, and if it's going to start to build a base and actually start to move up, that is going to be bad for the market. Now I like the UVXY. This is something that I use as a reference. And if the market is going to roll, like if we're still, again, if this was just a massive bear market rally or bear market bounce, then we should be getting clues from the UVXY and from the VIX. And that is kind of what we need to be looking for. We were getting some here, but I wanted to be a little bit more conclusive. And I'll talk about that a little bit further as we go into this. Now, if we go back to the SPY, and I know I'm spending a lot of time on the SPY here and the indexes, but that's pretty important because that's going to tell us where we're going. If we are in fact going to go down, then we typically are going to at least bounce around the 21. So, come down a little bit, bounce. Okay. You can see here, just like there was a bounce, and there was a bounce. And the next thing we did after bouncing off of the daily 21 is we went to the daily 50 right there, back to the 50. Okay. So I could definitely see us coming back down to the daily 50. That's really going to be the telling sign. Is I am totally willing to have price for the SPY come back down to the daily 50. The question is, how is breadth? When price comes down there, is everything falling apart or things actually holding up a little bit? And if price comes down there, will it eventually hold and go back up? Or if this is really just a bounce and a downtrend, was this a bounce and a downtrend? And the bounce off of the daily 50 will eventually continue to go down like this and like this. Now, if it's going to be into strength, then we're going to look for something like this, where price comes down into the daily 50 or even just below it and is able to recover and go up. So I've given you guys the game plan that if we do head back down to the daily 50, watch to see if it's going to be into support or not. And that's going to be the telling sign, and we're going to be looking for the UVXY to help us figure that out as well. Then if we go to the VIX, we're starting to see that there's, it's getting a little bit of traction. It's starting to move. Now, what we have not seen is we have not seen the VIX past the daily 50 for quite some time. And we're getting pretty close. So these are things that we need to be watching for. If these volatility products start to actually catch a trend to the upside, that is going to be bad for the market. Now, if they kind of bounce and pop and move up, but eventually fade, okay, that's fine. That's fine with the market. All right, so that's enough of that. I do want to show you one more thing here. This is a chart that I've been looking at for a while, StockCharts. And the thing that I'm looking at, let me get a different color so we can see it better, is when this crossed, obviously the market was not doing well. But when it crossed up, the market was doing much better. And when it crossed down, that was the top of the market. What do we have here? Well, we do have it crossing back up. So if we are in the bullish camp, this might be a little something we can chew on. So it is something to kind of think about. It doesn't have to work. It can stay flat. It can go up and then down, all sorts of stuff like that. So it's just one kind of piece of the puzzle out there, and we'll have to see. This is why I keep talking about we have to look and see if the pullback in the market is going to be into strength or not. And we just don't know yet. We're just going to have to wait and see how that shakes out. The NASDAQ, big move, that's great, but we could see that this thing was starting to run into some resistance. I mean, again, outside of the third ATR, and same thing with the 15-minute inverse trampoline moves. Now, the hourly divergence wasn't really as noticeable, okay, so maybe not quite as noticeable, but that's why we look at more than just one ETF in one sector. Check out the IWM. This one was way more obvious. So big thing here, notice price up, Moxie indicator down. Okay, that was a big negative divergence. And look, we got the Moxie price trigger right on time. And you could also see here, price kept trying to pop up over a downtrending 15-minute 50, and the Moxie indicator was below zero. The IWM, the small caps, were the most obvious as far as being overbought, extended, and likely to pull back, and us likely to get a pullback. So that was definitely factored into my equation. The Dow, really not too much. Actually, let me go to the higher time frame. There's really not too much to say here. It's clearly just been going sideways for quite some time. So yeah, not much there. The only thing I could actually say for the Dow is more on the monthly and the weekly. And just kind of wondering if price can stay over the monthly 10 I'm noticing that there's starting to be a little bit of a gap between price and the monthly 10, so you can see price likes to come back down to moving averages. So I can definitely see price coming to the moving average, but then we're going to have to see, does it hold it? And can it go up? Or is it going to come down here and continue to fail? Don't know yet. But I'm interested in watching that, seeing what happens, and we could see it come down here, and we'll have to see if it goes up or if it goes down. We just don't know yet. All right, so we got that. And how about the SOXX? This was another one that had the negative divergence that I was talking about. You can see this fairly clearly, price up, Moxie indicator flat, and then down. And you can just see here is very extended on the daily chart. So, yep, likely that there was going to be a pullback. Now, really, as I said, the question is the pullback going to be into strength or not? Okay, so GBTC, this is Bitcoin. This was very easy, very obvious, and this was another reason why I was talking to the Moxie traders and saying, hey guys, you see everything I see? I think you do, and this looks like we have reached the peak of this bounce, of this move up, and we are likely to pull back. So you can see here that price came up here. That's what I call the arch of the foot. This is on the weekly time frame. Heck, you could even see price running into the underside of a downtrending monthly 10. Now, if we come over to, and actually I think the 15 was pretty good too. Had some pretty clear signs. Yep, that was super clear. Okay, so let me show you this on the daily chart. And then we can talk about the hourly, and I'll show you some other Bitcoin related things. This was just another great example of, one, how the Moxie indicator works, two, how my Moxie system and the things that I talk about and how the setups and patterns that I use work and how well they work. And then three, it was an indication that, you know, some of the biggest movers, you know, the Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners, and also, you know, they're the highest risk. So, you know, they're going to be, when they top out, it's going to be a signal for the market to roll over too. Okay, so that's kind of what I was looking at. These are very clear, very obvious. We did take a couple shorts in through here, and you could just see here it was a 50, 200, 50 maneuver. Very obvious. And you can see here price up, Moxie indicator down a lot. And you can see there's the Moxie price trigger. And then what? So this was really the icing on the cake. I mean, you could have started earlier on the short side, but look at that. You had price trying to pop up over a downtrending 15-minute 50, and the Moxie indicator was so far below zero, it just was, you couldn't do anything but short that. So that was a perfect short. And actually, if you come over here on the hourly chart, look at this. What happened here? That bounce got rejected by the underside of the hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below zero. Literally perfect short setups with the Moxie indicator and the Moxie method, which is why we took some shorts in the market. So GBTC, I know these are the ETFs. You can have your opinion about that if you want. Let me show you actually on the hourly chart. But I like them because they just give me a general representation. How about here? Ethereum. Now again, I would even call this still a 50, 250 maneuver. But what's the other thing that really called my attention? If you guys have been watching me and you like the way the Moxie indicator works and all this stuff, these things should really scream out to you. And this is why I was able to look at this and say, guys, I think the market's, you know, we should not be long. We should not be initiating long. We should actually be looking to go short. And what are we seeing here? This is an inverse trampoline move. Notice how price was over the hourly 50, but the Moxie indicator was below zero. I mean, the Moxie price trigger fired right there, which means that these were false longs. Don't get sucked into those. In fact, if you like to short or whatever, if you want to exit, like these are great places. Those are inverse trampoline moves. And so price went down. And, you know, not that I have to short Ethereum or whatever, but it just builds the theme of what's going on here. And so that you are prepared for what else to see. Let me go over to Mara, because Mara was actually one of the first Bitcoin miners to start rolling over and moving down, which maybe this is going to be great. Maybe this actually means that it's going to be the first to reach support and build support and could be the first to actually go up if the market wants to go up. But what do we have? 50, 200, 50 maneuver. And you have price up, Moxie indicator down. And then you have right here a bounce up over a downtrending hourly 50 with the Moxie indicator below zero. Again, perfect short. That's an inverse trampoline move. Price should not be over the 50 if the Moxie indicator is below 0. And then right there, you have price continue to get rejected by the underside of a downtrending hourly 50, and the Moxie indicator is totally confirming this. So yeah, totally worked out on the short side. Saw this thing coming from a mile away. We've been talking about it, and you can see that this was moving down, which is exactly the reason why we took a short. Actually, let me go over here on HUT, and it was like a one-day wonder. It will. I think this thing will continue to go lower. We'll probably trade it a couple times, but we just cashed in like 14.5% on this thing. I mean, look, another 50, 250 maneuver. I bet you anything that this thing will eventually get down to the daily 50. Now, I think there's going to be a bounce in here so we can short it again, but that's kind of what I figure. You can see price up, Moxie indicator down. We even had a price trigger today. Boom. And other than that, the reason I got into here was, look at this. This was a perfect bear flag right into the underside of a downtrending 15-minute 50 with the Moxie indicator below 0. Perfect. Literally perfect. That fits everything. All the boxes were checked. So that was pretty cool. That was fun. You could even see RIOT working out nicely. Same deal. You know, they're all moving in the same way. So again, 50, 200, 50 maneuver. There's your Moxie price trigger, and that was an inverse trampoline move on the 15-minute time frame. So cool. Now, the only thing I could hope for is that these things either bounce or flag a little bit and give us another opportunity on the short side. So, and then, you know, once the short side's done, maybe then we can actually flip and go long on these things. We'll have to see if that actually happens. We don't know yet. Don't know yet. All right, Apple. So Apple hasn't broken down yet. Okay, that's fine. But do we want to be a long Apple? I think that's the biggest question, right? So based on everything that I showed you today, do you want to be long here? Do you want to be initiating longs? No. Because what does Apple look like? Apple looks like a stronger version of the NASDAQ or the SPY. It just hasn't kicked in yet. What do we think is going to happen with Apple? Look at Apple up here, just sky high. It's up here at the 3rd ATR. It is barely touching the 8 EMA. And notice that we have negative divergence. And what have I just told you guys about the 15-minute inverse trampoline moves? We're seeing this on Apple right now. So what is the likelihood that's going to happen? Well, the likelihood of price going down to probably at least the daily 21, I think, is very high. So, hey, if you're a longer term trader and you want to be long, fine. Just you better be prepared that there's probably going to be a pullback coming based on everything that I just saw, and that Apple has all the same setups as those things too. So definitely expect for this to come back down. Now, Tesla. Now, I'm in the same camp with Tesla. I think Tesla needs to come back down. This thing is exceedingly high. And I'm seeing all the things that are saying it's just getting overdone on the long side. Do you, I tried taking a short right. I tried taking a short right here because I wanted to see it break down like that. Well, it didn't. It went up. So I got out quickly as soon as it did that. Great. Now, I think the reason it's going up is Tesla Day. Tesla Day is going on. I think that's what's happening. And of course, there's going to be a lot of attention activity leading up into that. Maybe it's going to be one of those buy the news and sell, or buy the rumor, sell the news type situation. So maybe after Tesla Day, this thing will roll over. But if you are long Tesla and want to be long Tesla or want to get in long on Tesla, I would highly suggest that now is not the time. Or if you are, to lighten up your position. This does not look good on the long side. There should be, and dare I say there will be, a pretty stiff pullback coming, okay? So I don't know if it's going to implode all the way down here eventually, but I'm just saying that this is a risky place to be holding on to a full long position, okay? It has had a hell of a move, and it is likely to pull back. So however you want to kind of manage your trades, maybe you're thinking longer term and you're fine with that, but just don't initiate a long trade up here. This is not the time, not the place, unless you're a day trader, but this is not the time or place to go swing long or long-term long or anything else like this. This thing is like maxed out on its upside. There's not much room for this thing to keep moving up. So I would just say expect some sort of pullback on that one. Google, I think it's getting chewed up by AI, right? Let's come over here to the hourly chart and look a little bit better. My understanding is Chat GBT and Microsoft and all that kind of stuff is going on, and so okay. But look what we got: 50, 200, 50, and we got price up and Moxie Moxie indicator down. So there's your negative divergence. Again, perfect with that daily chart, 50, 250. This is why Bitcoin went down, you know, because it had a 50, 250. Apple's doing it, Tesla's doing it. Like, I'm seeing all the same patterns. It's just a matter of time until these things all kick in. So now, like, and this is my point. Now we have to see if this pullback is into strength, because it very well could be. This could be great. This pullback could actually be into strength, and this could go higher. I have to look for it. It's not there yet, but it's a possibility. And if this is going to keep going down, then just, you know, watch for a bounce up into the underside of a downtrending hourly 50 and watch for it to continue to hit resistance on any bounce and watch for it to keep going lower. So, you know, simple as that. All right, Boeing is another one I'm looking at going short. And the reason I'm looking at going short on this one is, again, overbought. But it has not touched the daily 50 since it started going up. So this thing is super frothy and likely going to pull back. The other reason is there was a whole bunch of weakness and we're right back here again. It was actually quite a surprise and almost forced. I think it was earnings somewhere in there that price continued to move up like that. So I'm looking at these inverse trampoline moving through here, and I think it's just a matter of time until this thing starts to roll over a little bit. So we're just going to take a small position here and just seeing if we can get back down to, I don't know, like 190 or so, back to the previous support area, and that'll be a nice, fun trade. Quick too. All right, FNGU. Let me come over to this. This is a FNGU. This is the leveraged ETF of the FANG stocks, basically, and it includes the Chinese FANG stocks as well, if you want to call them that. Great move. I mean, look at that double bottom right there. Great double bottom. We are now over the monthly 10, and you know what? All this, just like so many other names, has been completely repriced, and the bubble's been popped, and it's back down to where it was before COVID. So this is kind of why I'm thinking that there could be a bullish case out there. Not that this stock in particular, but I'm seeing a lot of stocks that have been repriced and the bubble's popped, and they look like they've been basing. I mean, again, with this double bottom. So, right? So that doesn't mean that they're going to go up forever. There are going to be some ebbs and flows. And right now, it had a really, really good move. I think it was something like a, I don't know, 80% move, something like that off the lows. Pretty great. But you know what? Now it's overdone for now. Now we need to wait for the pullback or watch for the pullback or trade the pullback, whatever you want to do about the pullback. But there's a pullback coming. And now the question is the pullback going to be into support and strength? And do we go higher, or is this all going to fail again? So, you know, I'm kind of looking at this saying, that looks pretty strong. I'm going to be leaning towards a pullback to strength, but we got to wait for that pullback. I mean, look at this, running right into the underside of the weekly 50. And if we look at the hourly chart, daily chart, hourly chart, what do we have? Another 50, 200, 50 maneuver. Can it eventually get all the way back down to the daily 50? Maybe, but I definitely would not be long here. This is a risky place to be long or to be getting long if you can't handle that. This had a huge move. Like, look, it went from 40 to 90. What was that? Over 100%. So, yeah, that's great. It doubled. This thing needs to chill out. It really needs to chill out. So give it some time. Let these things come back down. Let them all settle down, and then we'll have to see if they can actually find some support and if we go and get bullish again. But now's not the time to be bullish. Play the short side if you want. You know, get those pullbacks, and then let's just see about the next crop of things to the long side. All right, everyone. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.